Hey guys, this is not supposed to be happening. I was wanting this stream to be horizontal, but YouTube is not wanting to cooperate with me. So we're gonna see if, I don't think I can change it now. Oh my goodness. I might just have to film with it this way. This is not what I was hoping for, but we're gonna work with it. Let me see if I can fix this. This is just typical, isn't it, guys? Technical difficulties always. Okay, we're gonna try it this way. Please pardon me while I try to get this camera in the right position. I had it all set up for horizontal and then YouTube's like, no, we do not approve. Okay. I think we're live. Hello. Let me see if I can get this angle a little bit better on the stream. I don't think I can get this any lower. Okay. Let's try this. Trying to get this nice and centered here. Nope. Oh my goodness. Driving me crazy. Let me see here. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. So this was not the plan to stream vertically, but that's what we're going to go with today because YouTube's being a butt. So I'm streaming vertical today. Maybe next time I can get it to cooperate with me and turn horizontal. Hello, B-dubs. Yeah, this has been a rocky start over here on the first live stream. I had it all set up to go horizontal and then YouTube was like, no, you will film vertically. So that's what we're doing today. I know it's not ideal for the YouTube viewing later, but we're gonna work with it. Apparently you have to set up the orientation of your live stream before it starts. I'm very much a newbie when it comes to live streaming. I don't do it very often. I'm kind of like a technological grandpa sometimes, so I did not know that. We live and learn. So we're going to be filming vertical today. Hello to everyone watching. Hello to everyone watching on Patreon now, and hello to everyone watching on YouTube later. This is a patron exclusive live stream for those of you who are watching on YouTube and you're like, what is this? What is happening? This is a new live stream series I'm doing called Patron Portraits, where patrons on the $5 tier and above can vote on any character that I've watched in a movie I've reacted to on my channel. You can vote for a character, and whichever character has the most votes wins, and I draw that character live for Patreon first, and then the video goes up on YouTube later. So there were several different characters this week, and there was a tie. There was no clear winner, so I had to make the deciding vote. There was a tie between Stumpy from Rio Bravo, of course played by the iconic, the amazing Walter Brennan, and Jack Wilson from Shane. So there was a two-way tie there, and I decided, I was like, okay, I gotta break the tie, so I picked Stumpy because Walter Brennan is a gem, and he just radiates joy as this character. I love his features, and I thought, what a fun face to draw, so we're drawing Stumpy from Rio Bravo today. All right, and what I'm going to be doing is This is a one session drawing, so I've already got it laid out. I was like, I need to go ahead and do that first because that's the long and tedious part of the drawing, making sure everything is positioned correctly. And I was like, if I do that live, that will be like half of the live stream and everyone will be so bored. So I went ahead and did the boring part first. And the plan is for these live streams to be about 2 hours long, not any longer, maybe a little bit shorter sometimes. But yeah, basically like a 3 hour drawing. Takes me about an hour to lay it out. So we're going to be doing basically like 3 hour drawings each time, 2 hours just counting the live stream. And yeah, the goal is to finish it during the live stream. That's the challenge. I have to finish it during the live stream. So wherever it is at the end of the live stream, it has to be done. It has to be finished. So I very much have a tendency towards perfectionism with my drawings, so this is a nice exercise to just make me get the drawing done and not worry too much about making everything absolutely perfect. Just kind of just do everything as quick as I can, but as good as I can. It's a fun challenge as an artist, so. Oh, Jack Wilson does not approve. I'm sorry, Jack Wilson. There is always next week. You could always be the next patron portrait. Oh yeah, B-dubs. Faces and hands. Totally easy to draw. Not at all challenging, she said sarcastically. Yeah, hands and feet and ears are kind of a nightmare. I don't know what it is about ears, but I don't like drawing them. So why don't we kind of start over with the ear today? I'm going to try to look at the chat as much as I can, but I do have to draw. So we're going to be also testing my multitasking skills today. Can Madison draw and talk to people at the same time? This is my first time ever live drawing, so this is going to be an interesting challenge for sure. I like to lay down my darkest values first, so I was just kind of blocking in a few shapes right there, but I like to really go in and, you know, is this good artistic practice? I don't know, but I like to go in and do my darkest values first because it kind of gives me a roadmap to work from. It kind of blocks in the biggest, darkest shapes first, and then it kind of gives me something to work from. And when you have your darkest value first, you kind of have, like, you have an idea of what you're working from. Of like, okay, this is the darkest thing in this drawing, so everything else is going to be lighter, like working my way lighter. And I don't know, it just helps me work my way through it and kind of balance my values. I have no idea if the pencil scratching is going to be super loud. Hopefully not. We're going to have some drawing ambience today, guys. The pencil scratching on the paper. Drawing ASMR. Yes, B-dubs, I am a lefty. So setting this up was quite interesting. It always is when I'm filming like reels and stuff for Instagram, like how to set up my camera, because it's the opposite of what most people do. I can't have it shooting over my left shoulder because my arm would be in the way, my hand, it'll cast a shadow onto the paper or the canvas, whatever I'm doing, and so I have to shoot from over my right shoulder so that my hand's not in the way and it's not blocking everything or casting a shadow. It's how it is for us lefties. We just have to adjust and survive in a right-handed world. growing up in elementary school, all of the desks are designed, or at least at my time, when I was in elementary school, they were designed for right-handed people. So the armrest was over on the right side, and I didn't have an arm prop. Left-handed discrimination. I don't know how they do it now. I think now they have at least a couple of left-handed desks in each room, but I could be wrong about that. By the way, this is called a Montee pencil. Trying to make sure you guys can see this on the live. This is a Montee pencil. This is not a regular just graphite pencil because regular graphite pencils cannot get as black as I like for my drawings to get. I like being able to get black, and graphite pencils just can't do that. So it'll always, like, even if it's an 8B pencil, it'll be silver and shiny, and I don't like that. So I was trying many different things. I was just working with charcoal for a while to get black, but I wanted the precise control of a pencil, which you can't really get with charcoal because it's messy and it smears all over the place. So I wanted the control of a pencil, but the value of charcoal, like the blackness of charcoal. I think that's a little too small. So I finally landed on the Montee pencil, and I really, really like it. Yes, B-dubs, you're right. There is definitely a little bit of an advantage when you're playing sports as a lefty because you do things the opposite direction that people are used to, and you can take people by surprise. Or like if you play tennis, it just kind of throws people off when you come at them from left-handed as opposed to right-handed because they're trained always against other right-handers mostly. Okay, Tyrone, so I am about to share my secret with you. I can draw from memory, but I don't. Unless I'm just sketching or something. I do not do that because I draw in a very realistic manner, lots of detail, and so I always have a photo reference. I don't like to draw without a photo reference, so I always, like, I'm looking at Walter Brennan right now. I have his picture pulled up on my computer. So I am looking at that while I'm drawing, and the way that I lay out drawings, like when I'm first starting, there are lots of techniques to measure, like eyeball it and measure to make sure you get things in the right place. And that's all well and good. That's what I used to do for a very long time, pretty much all the way through college and stuff. And it wasn't until the end of college that I think it was senior year that I learned about this technique that actually the most, if not all of the old masters used to use. People are always like, oh, the old masters, they painted so perfectly. How did they do it? They were just geniuses. We can't possibly be like them. And the secret that most people don't know is that the old masters were using tricks to paint so perfectly, to get all their proportions right and get all of the colors in just the right place. What they were doing is, I can't even remember what the technique was called, but they were using mirrors and lenses to reflect their, like, the models in the room, and they would reflect the model, the scenery, onto the canvas, and they would trace it. So it would appear on the canvas and they would trace it. And that's how everything was so perfect, as a lot of people might say. So what I do is the modern version of that, which is just using a projector and projecting an image onto the canvas or the paper, and I trace it. I lay it out. I just give myself a roadmap so I know where everything is supposed to go, and then I just work from there. And if anyone calls that cheating, they're wrong. Because I would love to see those same people trace an image and then finish the drawing. That's the part they don't think about is, okay, well, now you've traced it, finish the drawing. Can you shade? Can you use all of these different pencils to great effect? Or can you paint? Can you do just more than a paint by number and make it a work of art? I mean, there's so much that comes after the laying out of the drawing. And yeah, I use mine as a roadmap to save me time, because I'm actually, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to blow on this. I am saving not only myself time, but I'm also saving people money, because time is money when you're making an art piece. The longer it takes you, the more hard work you put into it, the more expensive it's going to be. And so I was like, why would I spend all of this extra time getting, like, measuring everything and getting it all situated when I can just do it in an hour or two and save myself all that time and just struggle erasing and redrawing, erasing and redrawing to get it just right, when I can just make sure everything's perfect from the beginning. Especially when you're like me and you're mainly drawing people. People are very picky when you're doing portraits, especially like if you're doing portrait of a family member, loved one. People are super picky and critical, and you want to get it just right. You want to be sure that it's just right. So that's another way to just be very precise. I need to catch up on the chat. I haven't been looking at the chat. B-dubs, you like to use ink pens. Erasers are for people that make mistakes. That's hilarious. It terrifies me. Drawing with an ink pen, I make myself do it sometimes. Yeah, it's freeing in a way, but also stressful for me because I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to my art. That there's no, yeah, it's true, you can't make a mistake. Or, I mean, you do, but you just have to roll with it. And you can't fix it. You can't erase it. You can't change it. You just have to roll with it. And so, to be very talented to work with an ink pen, because if you don't nail it the first time, there's no going back. I need to speed up. I feel like I keep getting distracted talking and I'm just cruising along. I need to start blocking this in, people. Or poor Walter, poor Stumpy is just going to be half finished at the end of this live stream. There's a terrible glare happening. I'm going to have to try to resolve this in future live streams. I've got a light right over my left shoulder so that the light behind me doesn't just cast a terrible shadow on the drawing. But it's putting a really bad glare. Really bad glare on the drawing, so it's a little hard for me to see it. Walter Brennan doesn't have anywhere else to be. Oh my goodness. We're just hanging out with Stumpy today, guys. This is just his world and we're living in it. Tyrone, I don't have a particular order that I start with on drawings. I think what I usually start with the most is the eyes. So I guess I kind of went out of order on this one, but what I do is I just start at the darkest value, and with this being a cowboy character, he has a hat and there's a really dark undershadow on that brim. So I started there. But yeah, I need to get going on those eyes. I usually do that first, and that used to drive one of my professors crazy in college that I would start with the eyes. He did not want me to start there. He would be like, "You're done. You're done. No more. You're done. You've already done the eyes. You're done." I'm like, "I'm not done. I just started. What are you talking about?" But to him, he preferred more like abstract art, and I would do these like very naturalistic eyes right off the bat, and he'd be like, "You're done. You don't need to do anything else." And I'm like, "No, I'm now I need to do the rest of the face. We're not just gonna do the eyes and be done." And yes, I was doing an accent. He was from Croatia. He had a very strong accent. And that was my poor attempt at a Croatian accent. I am a very chaotic artist, I feel like, because even though I am very tight, as my professors used to call me, they're like, "Why can't you be more painterly? Why can't you be more free?" Um, I feel like I'm also kind of chaotic because I just don't have like a certain way that I have to do things every time. I just kind of go with the flow and have fun with it, and I don't have like a particular order. Like I have to use a 2B pencil first, and then I work up to a 3B and a 4B. Like there's some artists who every portrait, like they'll start with an HB, and then they're like, then I have to go to the 2B, then I have to go to the 3, 4, 5, and they have to go in order and like build it up. I admire those people for their patience and their self-control, which I do not have. I don't have that kind of patience. I just go with it, and I skip a lot of numbers. I go from a 2B to a 4B to an 8B. I'm all over the place. Catching up on the chat here. What's your take on AI art? Don't get me started. AI art is not art, in my opinion. I know there are people with different opinions, and that's okay. It's a world with a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and people are going to disagree, and that's fine. But to me, art has to involve human ingenuity and creation, and work of the hand. Even if you're like, I'm a digital artist too, so I draw a lot in Photoshop, which people make faces a lot when I tell them that, and they're like, I don't know, it's like they think I just click a button or something, which is not the case. That's what AI art is. You just enter a prompt and a robot creates it for you. What you do in Photoshop is, or what I do is I have a tablet that's connected by Wi-Fi, and I hand draw things on the tablet. So I have a pen in my hand, I draw on the tablet, and I draw a picture. You can make it look like a drawing, you can make it look like a painting, you can make it look like anything you want. And I do that a lot. That's art. I'm still hand drawing it. I'm still planning the composition, doing everything I would do with a painting or a drawing. The difference is it's a little easier. It's still hard. It's very time consuming. People are surprised when I tell them that digital things actually take me the longest sometimes. But yeah, I'm going off track now. I'm talking about digital art. But yeah, I'm still hand drawing it, I'm still creating it and everything, but with AI, quote, art, you're just entering a prompt and being like, AI, create this image for me. And there's no skill involved, there's no act of creation. You're just handing it off to a robot to do for you. It's just, I hate it. Hate is a strong word, but I hate it. I foresee a lot of problems with AI replacing jobs in all sorts of occupations, and it's gonna be more people out of work, replaced by machines. You guys seen Terminator? It may not be that dramatic, I hope not, but yeah, I'm like, have these scientists and people making these AI robots, have they ever watched a sci-fi movie? It never ends well. The machines always end up deciding they know better than the humans that made them, and then you have a problem. I also should say, there's gonna be problems in like the movie industry and stuff with AI replacing people, getting people out of jobs and stuff. But I personally, as a self-employed freelance artist, don't feel threatened by it because, one, people, like, they can't put me out of work, I employ myself, and two, a very important truth about people buying art is most people buy art for a why and not a what. Like, the why is more important than the what. So if they know that an AI robot made this, most people aren't gonna want it. Like, I believe in humanity enough to to say that I think most people, at least most art collectors, they want something that's made by a human and not a robot. So I don't feel threatened by that because they're thinking about the why when they look at my art, like why they love it and why they want to buy it and everything. And it's not just the what. If it was just the what, only the appearance would matter. But it's like, why did you create this piece? What does this piece mean? What's the backstory? I mean, you don't have that when there's just a robot making it. And you don't have the appreciation of just technical skill that it requires to make a piece of art. Or like, why did you make that brush stroke? Why did you draw it like that? And I mean, a robot can't really answer that question. It's gonna be like, well, I ripped off all these artists on the internet and made a hybrid style, just kind of absorbing their digital data off the internet, and I used this algorithm, and that's like, okay, so that's worthless. Sorry, I just went on a whole tangent about AI art. I've missed a question. Let's see, B-dubs. When doing commissioned work, do you ever use the grid system to get proportions right, or do you just go right into it and trust yourself? Well, I don't know if you just heard my long explanation of how I lay out drawings, but no, I've never used the grid system. I know a lot of artists that do, but I've never done the grid system. Because like I said, I mean, there's a lot of techniques for laying out drawings and how you want to do it. There's also tracing paper. A lot of people do that. Print out an image, lay it under the paper, trace it on the tracing paper, and you can like then transfer it to your paper where you're drawing by tracing it again. Kind of hard to explain, but I used to do that. No worries, B-dubs. I do not expect you guys to sit here for 2 hours. If you do, awesome. I love the company, but I certainly don't demand it. You guys have lives. People gotta work, they gotta go in and out, they got things going on. That is okay. You can always come back and finish it later. Or, I mean, there's a lot of people who can't make the live at all, and they have to just watch it later. That is okay. What is this? There we go. That was like lodged in the paper. This one too. Nope, that's just in the paper. B-dubs, the short version of what I said earlier is that I use a projector and I project an image onto the paper or the canvas and I lay it out. I create my roadmap and that way I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about if my proportions are right and everything's in the right place. I just know it is. So then all I have to worry about is making the drawing after that, or making the painting and doing it well. Making a work of art from that roadmap. This glare is really bothering me. I feel like I can't see what I'm putting on his face. Might have to kind of tweak my setup a little next time. Because some of this is... I can't see it very well. Usually I have my light like 10 feet away from me, off to the side so that it gives me the light I need, but it doesn't put a glare on my drawing. Today, with my live stream setup, the light is right over my head. It's about 2, maybe 3 feet away from me. Not good in terms of putting a glare on my drawing. I'm gonna try to figure out a solution next time. Maybe it's the angle of the, maybe if I tweaked the angle of the drawing setup next time, that could help with the glare. It's all about angles, guys. Oh, cool, B-dubs. See, I am learning something about you today. I did not know that you're a fellow artist. Cool beans. All of the artists are going to come out of the woodwork now that I'm doing drawing live streams and be like, I never knew you guys were artists. I'm hoping that YouTube does not punish me for this because they're very weird now about only putting one type of content on your channel, which I do movie reactions. And I hope they're not like, hey, you can't do drawing live streams, what are you doing? Sometimes they'll just delete channels because it's like, you didn't stay in your lane. You didn't post the kind of content you're supposed to be posting. But I've gotten away with posting videos about, you know, my books and stuff, so I already have a little bit of diversity of content, so hopefully YouTube will not mind. The YouTube overlords who try to control content creators. I probably shouldn't trash talk YouTube on a YouTube live stream. Artograph projector. The opening on the bottom is only 6x9, so if the image is bigger, I have to do some shuffling around. Oh, interesting. Yeah, mine is like I just move it back and forth, so it's digital. So I have a USB, put the image on the USB, and then I put the USB in the projector and it projects the image onto whatever surface, and I just move the projector around, and if I move it back, the image gets bigger. If I move the projector closer to the canvas or the paper, the image gets smaller, so I can make it whatever size I need it to be. Yeah, B-dubs, I'm on Rumble too, but there's just not a lot of revenue to be had. I just don't get a lot of traffic over there, which is unfortunate because they're much more of a free speech promoting platform. They don't censor people. They don't really mess with you. They just kind of leave you alone and let you do your thing. Yes, yeah. That was a whole ordeal. I don't even remember, was that 1 or 2 years ago now? It took a whole like 6-month hiatus from YouTube because they just demonetized my channel for no reason. I had no copyright strikes. I had never gotten a copyright strike. It was just like, hey, you're demonetized. And I filmed an appeal. I submitted an appeal. And they were like, no, we don't care. You're demonetized. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I was so mad. I just went exclusively to Rumble for a while. But like I said, that was just monetarily not feasible if I was going to keep filming. So I came back to YouTube, and that really set back my YouTube growth. Obviously, because I was away for 6 months. So yeah, still working on, I don't know. I guess growth-wise, I'm just very behind where I would be because of losing those 6 months. I've got to speed up. Oh my gosh, I'm just chatting away, and haven't even worked on his shirt yet or anything. I might jump down here actually and work on the chair and stuff. Cause oh my gosh, I have to finish this drawing in this session. I like to fade my drawings out at the bottom. I don't like to keep them like very realistic and just really detailed all the way down to the edge. I like to kind of fade them out so that the focus is more on the subject. I was afraid this was gonna happen. I was like, I can usually multitask pretty well, but I'm not used to multitasking when I'm drawing. I'm usually just really hyper focused on what I'm doing. Not used to chatting and drawing at the same time, so this is going to be a new challenge for me. Developing a new skill. I'm trying to keep the Montee pencil from making that horrible squeaky noise it does sometimes. If you mash too hard, it will make this terrible squeaky noise like nails on a chalkboard. I'm trying to spare you guys. Trying to spare you that noise. What are you guys up to today? You guys got any special plans today on this lovely Thursday? My pencil grip is killing you. Oh my goodness. I know. You know, I've never held a pencil correctly. I chalk it up to being a lefty. I just they tried to make me, like in elementary school, they were trying to make me hold the pencil right, and I was like, I can't, doesn't work for my hand. Doesn't feel right. I felt like I had no control. There's something about the way I just kind of prop it. It's much more comfortable for me. Let's see here. By the way, for anyone wondering, I may butcher the pronunciation of this, but I call it a tortillon. And this just blends stuff. It's a quick way to make things smooth and kind of smoky, hazy looking. Waiting on the car shop. That's always fun. And by fun, I mean not fun. Dealing with car people can be very frustrating. Not throwing shade at anyone who works at car dealerships or anything. I'm just saying sometimes when you're trying to get something fixed on your car, there's certain people who will overcharge you and take advantage of your lack of knowledge if they can. They're waiting for days sometimes. It's frustrating. I am going to be, I know you're going to be shocked by this, but I'm going to be watching a rodeo this afternoon. Usually they're more in the evenings, but I'm watching the Calgary Stampede, which is obviously in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. One of the biggest rodeos of the year. It's fantastic, and for some reason it's in the middle of the day. So I've been watching that every day. It starts at 2:30, basically. 2:30 Central Time. It's different depending on what time zone you're in, but yeah, I've been carving out a block of time. Sometimes I have to record it, to DVR record it, but and just watch it later, but that has been a blast. Trying to speed up a little, guys, because I'm going, oh no. Oh no, this isn't going to be done. What's going to be harder about this one is his hands are in it, which, as we discussed earlier, takes a lot of extra time. Most portraits I do, I make them just like face and maybe shoulders. I don't usually draw hands if I can help it. I've had to do a lot of hands recently with my rodeo paintings that I've been doing, because I've been doing like full body, like bull riding, bronc riding, calf roping, all that stuff, and you gotta do their hands. So I've had to conquer my fear. But there is no fear like the fear of ears. Don't know why. don't know if that's, I don't know if it's that way for anyone else, but just never liked, and I used to be scared of doing noses. I finally got over that. Then it was just like replaced by fear of ears. I gotta Google that later. Although that would be different. Like, what is the fear of ears called? Like, what phobia is that? But I don't have a fear of ears. It's just a fear of drawing ears. I don't know why. You'd think they would be easy. But they're just so weird looking when you really think about it. He's got this little harmonica in his hands. I wanted to have that because that's my favorite scene in the movie, is Stumpy and, oh my gosh, I forgot the characters' names. Oh, Colorado. I can't remember Dean Martin, his character's name, but they're all sitting around singing, playing the harmonica when John Wayne walks in. It's just so great. My favorite scene in that movie. It's just so relaxing, and it's like, I don't know. You can't get more Western than that scene. You just really can't. Dean Martin singing "My Rifle, My Pony, and Me." Tyrone, I was just reading your comment. I mean, you know, a lot of kids are scared of horses. They're very big, and you do have to be careful around them, because some horses are really nice and friendly, and then other horses, not so much. You gotta take the time to figure out which one they are first. I never had a fear of horses, even though I didn't grow up around them, but I grew up so fascinated by them, and I was fascinated enough that by age 6, I was begging my mom for horse riding lessons. It was actually before that, because I started asking when I was younger, and she was like, no, you're not old enough, you need to wait till you're 6. And so 6 years old was when I started riding horses. Never looked back. Started taking English riding lessons first. Didn't like it. I mean, I liked it, but the whole vibe just wasn't for me. I wanted to be a cowgirl, so about 8 or 9 years old, I switched to Western, and again, never looked back. Again, I'm not throwing shade at people who ride English and like the equestrian world better. It just was not for me. It was not for me. I was basically training to go into the dressage world, and it's like, I don't know, I didn't want my horse riding future to be like riding from point A to point B and doing it as pretty as possible. I don't know. It wasn't quite exciting enough, and I don't know, I loved the idea of riding the trails, just riding more for fun. I did try rodeoing. I did, oh gosh, for some reason I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. I know I did at least 1, but I was a barrel raced, because that was what we always trained to do in our horse riding lessons, was we would barrel race and we would do pole bending. Pole bending's a lot of fun. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Not pole dancing, pole bending. I'm sorry guys, I laugh at my own jokes. I'm one of those people. But yeah, I did that and I really enjoyed it. It was just, the thing was, I was doing art, and I also have always written stories, always loved writing, so I always thought that was always what I planned to do for the rest of my life, and so I was like, I can't have 3 jobs, although the funny thing is that's what I've ended up doing, is I have 3 jobs. But I was like, I have to focus on something, so I ended up deciding to focus on art instead of like rodeoing. So I just enjoy watching the rodeos. I don't participate. I enjoy watching and painting the scenes that come from rodeos. Which, it's good that I decided to do that, because the rodeo lifestyle is hard. You're on the road all the time, going from one state to another, and that would have never worked for me. That lifestyle would not have worked for me. I would have burned out so fast, even though I enjoy it. I'm not someone who likes to be on the road all the time, so it wouldn't have worked. So good thing I picked art. But I still ride horses. I just do trail riding for fun instead of going out and competing. So horse riding is my chill time instead of like competition time. It all worked out. Oh yeah. Don't know how they stay put on that tiny saddle. That's right. That's one big positive about Western riding, is you have a much bigger saddle. I used to ride in that tiny little English saddle. You just perch up there with your little stirrups. And if you get in trouble, there is no saddle horn to grab. We were trained never to grab the saddle horn anyway, because a lot of times it could get you in trouble with your posture and just getting you out of position. A lot of times it won't help you, but sometimes it does. So it's there, but we always tried not to rely on it, because that's not what the saddle horn is for. It's for roping cattle. It's not a safety net. I think you guys have a better view of this drawing than I do. I actually can't see, hold on, I gotta check this. I actually can't see the live stream screen right now. Oh, there it is. See, like, I have it to where I can't even see it, because I've got my reference picture on my computer screen that's taking up most of my screen, so I can just see the chat. I should probably be checking this every now and then to make sure it hasn't turned off. That would be unfortunate. Oh, I haven't told you guys. I got a new phone, and that might not be exciting for some people, but it's very exciting for me, because I had an iPhone 8. I was very behind the times. I don't know how many years I had it, a long time, and it was still working. Despite, I don't know if I've told this story on YouTube, this will be fun. So I went to a rodeo back in March or April, I can't remember now, but I went to the rodeo in Montgomery. Oops, hold on, I just dropped a pencil. I went to a rodeo, and they had a clear bag policy, so I was with my parents, and I could not take my purse in. Mom couldn't take her purse in, so my dad had to take him back to the car and everything. Anyway, this big thing. So like normally I have a purse with me and I'm used to having my phone in my purse. I'm setting all this up for a reason, okay? I'm used to having my phone in my purse, not in my pocket. Well, after the rodeo, I go to the bathroom and I forget that my phone's in my back pocket. So, as you might imagine, it takes a near fatal plunge into the toilet. And I had to come to terms with the horrible reality that I had to stick my hand in there to retrieve it, or it was doomed to die. So that was what I did. I reached in there, I plucked it out, I was like traumatized. I had to come out with it in my hand, like it's dripping on the floor. Is this TMI? There's a whole line of ladies in there, and I was like, my mom was out there waiting on me, and I was like, I dropped my phone in the toilet, and all of the ladies, it was like a live reaction, all of the ladies in line are like, oh no. And so I was like cleaning off the phone and everything, and I thought it will surely die. I thought there's no way it was like 90% submerged. There's no way the phone survives. To Apple's credit, the phone survived. I don't know how, because it was already ancient at that point, and somehow it survived. No weird like malfunctions or anything. I don't know. It was a miracle, y'all. It was St. Patrick's Day, and I say that it was a St. Patrick's Day miracle. But all that to say, the phone was ancient. It was time to be replaced, and Verizon offered. This video is not sponsored by Verizon. Verizon offered me this really great deal where I could get an iPhone 14 for really, really cheap. And so I said, heck yeah. And so all of that to say, really long story. All of that to say, I have an iPhone 14 and I'm filming on that now. Not filming my reactions, I have a camera for that, but filming my live streams because I could not live stream on my iPhone 8. That was one thing it could not handle. So I could never film live streams on my phone. And that was a problem because I knew I was planning to do this and start doing these patron portrait live streams and all of that. So I was like, I gotta have a phone I can live stream on. And so here we are. I love it, by the way. It is, it was like suddenly going on Instagram, everyone's pictures and videos were like in HD. I had no idea what I was missing out on. It's so much better now. It's like, oh my gosh, the screen's bigger, the pictures and videos are bigger and clearer. It's just like, whoa. I need to look at the chat. The equestrian pole dancer. Oh goodness. Oh, you have an iPhone 8 too. Yes, yeah, I forgot to mention that. The battery was terrible also on my phone. It would die by the end of every day. I always had to end up charging it before day's end. It would never make it. So the extension in battery life has definitely been a plus. Don't have to worry about my phone dying in the middle of the day. I'm trying to go faster, guys. I really am. I'm bad at going fast. Too busy talking about dropping my phone in the toilet at a rodeo. Unfortunately, B-dubs, there was no plastic bag. There was nothing to be done but just go all in. one of those kind of life or death moments where you're just like, you have a moment of horror and terror where you're like, this can't be happening. But then you're like, oh, I have to do this. Can't leave it. I can't leave it. So I gotta save it. And you cowboy up and you do what you gotta do. Anyway, hopefully it traumatized me enough that I will not let it happen again. Oh my gosh, if it happened to a brand new phone, oh, I would cry. It was bad enough being an old phone. If it happened to my new phone, I would be so upset. Yeah, that makes sense, B-dubs. You get what you need. Sorry guys, I'm sharpening my white charcoal right now. By the way, that's what this is. I don't think I said anything about it, but for anyone wondering, this is white charcoal, aka my best friend. Can do all sorts of fun highlights, and that's why I love working on tan paper or gray paper, because then I get to use white charcoal. If I use white paper, well, there's no point, obviously. Trying to see around this glare. My goodness, it's driving me crazy. Ugh. I wonder if I could like use my hand to, nope, that's not working. I was trying to see if I could use my hand to block the light so I could see better, but it is not working. By the way, for anyone who has been here a long time on my channel following my videos, fun fact, I am sitting in the room I used to film in. If any of you remember a very large, antique-looking roll-top desk, that's what I'm sitting at. If you look back at my older videos, you will see it. You will see it in the background of every video. the unfortunate thing about this is, see, I don't usually draw in this room. I had to make a totally new setup for the live stream today. And that's why I'm having some hiccups here with the setup, but there's not a ton of space. Like, I have this on a big book table. That's how I usually draw now. I used to draw with my paper flat on the table, and I did not like that because I couldn't see the angle. I wanted to be looking straight on at my drawing and not have it be distorted by laying flat and me having to try to hunch and lean over it. So I have it propped up on a book stand, book table thingy now. But anyway, there's not a lot of like desk space on this rolled top desk. It's kind of more narrow. It's not like a big table, so it's kind of difficult to have everything up here, but we're working on it. There are a lot of compartments in it, so I foresee potential for storing art supplies, and there's a lot of drawers. I think it could be a good storage place for stuff. Tyrone, you finally started reading Gone Outlaw. That's exciting. Dinah is an angry young woman. Yeah, she is. But she's been through a lot. Beth on Yellowstone. I don't know much about Beth because I've never watched Yellowstone. I just know people say she's a little cray-cray. She can fly off the handle sometimes, but she's got a spine of steel. That's my impression of Beth, but again, I don't know much about her because I have never watched Yellowstone. It's just not really for me, so. My favorite Taylor Sheridan project that I've ever watched was Hell or High Water. Yeah, that's my favorite. I've seen that one, and I've seen Wind River, which I also remember enjoying, but it was just so dark. It's a little bit much for me, but I do remember enjoying the film. It's just not one I can go back and watch multiple times, which is the kind of film I prefer, is the ones that I can just go back and watch over and over and appreciate more and more over the years. Hell or High Water I really enjoyed. Had a lot of elements that I tend to enjoy in stories and westerns, even though it's like a modern day western. Let's see, how are we doing? My goodness, got about 50 minutes left. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, there were some really great moments in Hell or High Water, some really great exchanges. I felt like it was Taylor Sheridan's attempt at No Country for Old Men. I feel like I could be totally wrong because I haven't seen any interviews with him saying that. But it very much felt inspired by No Country for Old Men, which is one of my favorite films of all time, which might surprise some people because I'm such a fan of happy endings. But I really love No Country for Old Men, and after I saw the movie, I had to read the book, and the book's even better. It's fantastic. Although there are a couple of changes that were made in the movie that I actually liked better than the book. But the book's just, I mean, it's longer, you get more of it. I mean, my goodness, you got Josh Brolin and Tommy Lee Jones and Javier Bardem all in No Country for Old Men. It's just like, how could it not be good? A lot of people have asked me to react to that one, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I've already seen it several times because I love it. It would have been a great reaction. It would have. It's kind of sad that I didn't get to react to it, but just the way it happened. Okay, something weird is happening with his finger. We're gonna fix that. His finger does not bend that way. We don't want Stumpy to have a broken finger. That would just not be good. Tweak that a little bit. That's a little better. Oh my gosh, you guys, I haven't even started on the left hand. Yes, Tyrone, I do typically prefer happy endings, but there's just certain films, books, and things that, like, I love a good tragedy. I really do. I tend to prefer happy endings normally, but I make an exception for certain tragedies that I just think are so well done. Or not even tragedies, but just like darker endings. I can roll with it. I really can. My gosh, I keep putting my elbow on my pencils and it slides out from under me. One of my favorite romances of all time is Wuthering Heights, which I don't know if you know anything about that or not, but not a happy ending. So that's one of my big exceptions. Normally I prefer romances that end happily, but when it's really well done and it just rips your heart out, I can go for some of that. And my favorite like film adaptation of Wuthering Heights, because I haven't seen the other ones actually, but the one I have seen is from 2009. And it was actually done as a mini series, like I think done as 2 episodes, and it starred Tom Hardy and oh shoot, what's her name? Charlotte Riley. And it was so good. I mean, their chemistry was off the charts. They got married after that. They're still married. But it was so good. I actually like it better than the book, and usually that doesn't happen, but I like that better than the book, the way it was done. I felt like the characters were more likable and you could root for them more in the film adaptation, and so I liked it better. Because I like characters I can root for. I don't like it when I'm not liking anyone. But I haven't seen, I think there's like an adaptation from the 1930s, maybe? I know there's one with Ray Fiennes, and I think that's from like the late 30s. I don't want to throw out a wrong date. I don't remember when it's from, but there's one with Ray Fiennes, and I haven't seen that one, so I should probably react to it at some point since I love that story so much. So it would be a plot that I'm very familiar with, but not an adaptation that I've ever seen, so it could be fun. Because I've only seen that one adaptation of Wuthering Heights. Oh, cool. Fun facts about Stumpy's harmonica. Plays a chromatic harmonica. It has a button on the side that opens and closes the reed holes to allow all the sharps and flats to be achieved. That's cool. More difficult to play. Not invented until 1924, well after the film's setting. Well, you know, everybody makes mistakes, beat-ups. Who's to say Stumpy's not a time traveler? I mean, can we disprove it? Stumpy or Festus from Gunsmoke? Well, I have a confession, Tyrone. I've never seen Gunsmoke. I've never seen an episode of it, so I cannot say with complete confidence, but I can say that Stumpy is a legend, so I would be remiss to vote against him in any showdown. Who is Gabby Hayes? I don't know who that is. Is that another character from Gunsmoke? I'm sorry, I'm failing the Gunsmoke trivia, guys. I've just never seen it. It was before my time. And I have not really reacted to series on my channel. I mainly just do movies. If I was able to film more reactions per week, I could potentially do more series, but because I can only film one reaction per week, I mainly stick to movies because it would take me forever to get through series, even if it was just a mini series. Because I've been wanting to watch like Band of Brothers and stuff, but whenever I do that, it'll take me like 8 or 9 weeks or however long it is to get through it, so I keep putting it off. Gabby Hayes was the old cute character from early westerns. Gotcha. You know, my internal monologue that I'm having right now is like, man, I hope this looks halfway decent because the glare is so bad. I literally can't tell. Oh my gosh. It's like a whole nother level of challenge, like when you can't see what you're drawing, just hoping for the best. That's scary. I mean, these are supposed to be quicker portraits anyway. But I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't see. Oh man. Gonna have to try to work on the setup for next week's portrait and see if I can figure out a way to reduce the glare. I don't think you're looking too bad, Stumpy. We're getting there. We're working on it. That is one thing about pencil that I don't like is the way it glares. I like the, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Not flat, but maybe The lack of shine that charcoal has, it's just more difficult to control. Never be afraid to erase what you've done. I do it all the time. I have a tendency to go very heavy-handed. And sometimes I go back and I'm like, no, that was too much. That was too dark. And sometimes you can get a really cool, just smooth effect when you erase it out. Let's see. Oh, Stumpy. Walter Brennan he has such a friendly face. It was so weird the one time I've seen him play a baddie. It's like, this just isn't right. Don't know if I like his nails being that light. They are that light in the picture, but I don't want him to look like he has a manicure. That's a funny image. Oh, B-dubs, don't ruin him for me. Let me have this. No, it's okay. I'm used to it. I'm used to not liking actors in real life, but I still enjoy their work. We're having a pause for some more pencil sharpening, guys. We're getting a little flat. Let's see here. I think actually The actor who played Festus on Gunsmoke also played Charlie McCory in The Searchers. Well, I have to confess, I've only seen The Searchers one time, and it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. So, I don't actually remember any of the characters' names. I would have to watch it again. Because I have watched a lot of movies since then. You know, honestly, that's when I could go back and do like a flashback film Friday for that one because I remember so little of it. I remember that I really enjoyed it. And I remember the ending because I got really emotional. But that's about all I can remember. Just don't know why. I know that John Wayne was kind of a jerk in that movie. But then you really grew to love him by the end, or at least I did. Sorry for the noise, guys. It's about to be loud for a second. Sorry about that. That was probably not pleasant. Uncredited role in The Quiet Man. Interesting. Very interesting. Is anyone else's stomach growling, or is it just me? It's almost lunchtime here. Oh, this... Yeah, we need to switch ends. That one is getting messy. I never know, like, do people say tortillon or do they say tortillon? Because I feel like it's a fancy French word or something and I should say tortillon, but maybe that's wrong and I just sound like an idiot. But you see, this one is about done on this end. When it starts peeling over like that, it's just, can't control it as well. We're having to switch to this end. trying to decide what I want to do with his sleeves. If I want to leave them the way they are or smudge them a little. I don't know. We're in the home stretch now, guys. We've got less than 30 minutes to go. I'm like, oh Lord, can't see his face. I hope it looks good. Let's see. It's both freeing and terrifying to do these quicker drawings. Oh, The Big Country, such a good movie. That movie, I don't know what I was expecting out of it, but it was a lot more than I was expecting, and I just had so much fun with that one. And I love Gary Cooper. He's one of those that I did not know anything about him before I started a reaction channel. I had never seen any of his movies, but now I am a fan. Do you guys have a favorite actor? What's your favorite movie if you had to pick one? Oh, you're right, Tyrone. For some reason, I mixed them up. I don't know why. Yes, Gregory Peck. That is who I meant. Although I do love Gary Cooper, too. But I was referring to Gregory Peck. Yeah, I think... Ooh, I don't know which one of those two I like better. I like both of them. I might have to go with Gregory Peck on that one by a slight, slim margin. Maybe. Wait a second. Oh my gosh, I was confused again. I was mixing up Gary Cooper with Cary Grant. Oh, this is gonna start happening, guys. I'm gonna know too many actors, and I'm just gonna start mixing them up all the time. This must be what happens when you start watching too many movies. Okay, yeah, I've straightened it out in my mind now. Gary Cooper is the one in High Noon, correct? Gary Cooper is in High Noon, and then Cary Grant I've watched in a lot of different things, like North by Northwest and The Bishop's Wife, some other stuff. That's Cary Grant, and then Gregory Peck in The Big Country. I've got it straight now, okay. Warlock, is that your favorite movie, Tyrone? 1959, interesting. I don't know what that movie is or what it's about. Getting close to the end. Crazy how fast this 2 hours went by. Time flies when you're having fun. Let's see. I'm gonna lean this way so I can try to see this better without any glare. I hope my audio is okay, by the way. I'm not using a mic or anything like I usually do, so we're gonna see how this iPhone 14 does on sound work. Fun fact, B-dubs, I already watched it. I watched it a couple of days ago on my birthday, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I did not know, like going in, you always wonder if the humor in a particular comedy is gonna align with yours. Well, that one knocked it out of the park with me. Oh, there's a sequel? Oh my goodness. Is it anywhere near as good as the first one? It always stinks when there's a disappointing sequel. Hard to say, but you like it a lot. Well, that's good that you like it at least. Goodness, guys, I gotta have some water. I haven't had any this whole time I've been sitting here. I don't know how my voice held out. A new actor. Intriguing. I definitely really liked the cast in the first one. Thought it was a good group. Yeah, I get what you mean, B-dubs. I didn't think you meant the lead character. I assumed you just meant new in the group. It took me like a solid 30 minutes to realize that the one actor was the guy from Home Alone, and it was like, I was mind blown. Because I don't think I'd ever seen him in anything else, and I was like, that's the guy from Home Alone. Okay, guys, I'm trying to look and be like, okay, what is something else that needs to be done before this can be finished? Trying to make sure I don't miss anything important. Yeah, B-dubs, I like drawing with it propped up. I used to always draw with it flat, and I felt like that hindered me because I would try to lean over it and see things the way I was supposed to see it, and then like I'd hold it up at the end and I'd be like, wait a second, that's in the wrong place. That doesn't look right. And I would just notice all these things that were wrong with it because I had had it laying at an angle and I just couldn't see as well. Oh no. Not a drool on the drawing. That would be terrible because there's no way to fix it. You just hope it dries and doesn't show. Oh goodness, that's an image. That's one way of making your mark on the drawing. Haha. Told you I laugh at my own jokes. I mean, if you don't laugh at your jokes, then why would anyone else? A watermark. Oh my gosh. Yes. Jack Wilson, Jack Palance, is that how you say it? Was in City Slickers. Yeah, Tyrone. I just realized that like way after I watched it. I just realized it like yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because it was when I looked up, you're the one who made the comment, right, about suggesting him for the portrait. When I looked him up for that, because I was like, he could end up winning the poll, I was like, wait a second, that was the guy in City Slickers. And I did not realize it till I looked at pictures of him, because it's been a while since I watched Shane. And I was like, that's the same guy. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a great way to, again, like pay homage to the old school classic Western by literally having a guy from Shane in the movie, because there were so many references to things. I was like, that's perfection. This is the part, guys, where I just start jumping around on the drawing, and I just try to find everything that I think is not finished, and I try to get it to where it is finished. No rhyme or reason to it, just chaos. Let's see here. Trying to decide if I am okay with his face or not. I really thought this would be a fun way to like celebrate to the movies that I watch on the channel and just kind of have a little bit more time with them and to discuss them if people wanted to. Like just drawing characters from the different movies I've watched just seemed like something fun. And a good way to just incorporate what I do for a living on my channel, which is drawing and painting. So I don't know, the idea just came to me one day and I was like, that would be fun. Kind of combine the two things, the artist aspect of my life and the movie reactor part. Oh my goodness, guys, we've got 7 minutes remaining. I feel like I'm at the, like I'm playing Majora's Mask. Night of the third day, like 10 hours remain. You're like, oh no, you're having a heart attack. It's not the SATs. No one's going to yell pencils down. Well, I am though, B-dubs. No, you're right. There's no hard and fast rule. It's just approximately 2 hours. Thank goodness the siren's not going to go off. Tyrone, you're so right. I don't know how many times someone has said something to me like, oh, but it looks finished. It looks so good already. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. It's terrible. I've learned that we as the artists see things that other people just are not trained to see. And they don't mean any offense. They're not being patronizing or anything like that. They genuinely mean it. They don't see some of the things that we see, and that's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just something that's kind of instinctual or if it's just the trained eye. Definitely part of it is the trained eye. I used to be a lot worse about not being able to see what was wrong with my drawing. I've gotten a lot better about being able to see what's wrong with it and how to fix it. Because I used to be like, something's wrong, but I don't know what. But now I'm like, I know exactly what's wrong with it most of the time. Sometimes when I'm working with something like a more abstract background, I'm like, something's off, I don't like it, but what do I need to do to fix it? And sometimes it'll take me days to figure it out, and sometimes you figure it out by accident, and you're like, oh, that's what it needed. It's definitely harder to me, personally, when I'm painting a more abstract background that I'm just kind of winging it and working with it, as opposed to like just trying to paint what's there, because that's actually easier to me. But when I'm trying to just kind of make up something that's not there, that's harder, of like trying to figure out what needs to go where and what color needs to go where, and is it gonna work with what you've got and all of that. So sometimes there are days of frustration where like, oh, I hate it. You start screaming at the painting, I hate it, and then eventually you come back around to loving it again. Love-hate relationship. 12:57. Man, thank you guys for being here the whole time. I really appreciate it. So I wasn't here just talking to myself today. This has been a lot of fun. Oh, that's cool, B-dubs. When I was in school 100 years ago, we did a portrait of this little girl, or this girl on the first day of class, and of the same girl on the last day of class. The amount of improvement in everyone's ability was definitely noticeable. That is so true. From the start of a art school year to the end, definitely big improvements. I personally did not really, I feel, mature as an artist until after college, though. I was a slow grower. One thing was, a lot of my classmates had painting classes like before college, and I had not, so I was starting from like square one, having done nothing but just the spare little acrylic or watercolor painting here and there as a kid. I had no training, so I was very behind a lot of them in painting. Drawing was always my thing that I grew up doing more of, like pencil drawings and stuff, so painting was totally out of my comfort zone, and that was a learning curve, and I feel like I've finally gotten to where I'm really proud of my paintings. Day one renderings looked like a cave drawing. That is the truth, though. I see no lie. Do you ever realize you're holding the wrong pencil? You thought you were holding a different pencil, and that's what just happened to me. Well, B-dubs, when I started painting in college, I started with acrylics because that's what I thought I liked better and would be more comfortable with. So I did acrylic all the way through college until senior year. That was when my professor finally convinced me to switch to oils. And I was like, I am an idiot. I should have been doing this the whole time. Why am I like this? And I never went back. I love oils. I love the freedom. Acrylics stress me out now. They dry too fast, and I want to keep blending and working with things, and it dries, and I'm like, no, I wasn't ready for you to dry yet. With oil, you got all day. You got 2 or 3 days if you want it. There's not this pressure to just get it right quickly. 1 o'clock, guys. We made it. We made it. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. It has to be formal. Let me, trying to get this tape off. I'll get it, guys. I'll get it. There we go. It's coming. I was going to put my signature down here. The watermark, as B-dubs would call it. We're making it official. There we go. It is signed. It's done. The first ever patron portrait. Woohoo! And the honored, or guest of honor, as we'll call him, Stumpy. He's so happy. Look at him. Thank you guys so much for being here for the first ever patron portrait. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Tyrone and B-dubs. This was great. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, I know, B-dubs. I won't forget to spray it. Oh, I just realized I was going to explain this. So it looks like my drawing is really off center, but I actually have my little box drawn. This is an 11 by 14 sheet of paper, but the drawing is going to be 8 by 10. So the actual border is like right here and going right down here. So it is not, in fact, down in the corner. Just FYI. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, for being here for this live stream. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys watching on YouTube later as well. If you're interested, all of these portraits will be available for purchase on my website, MadisonThames.com. And if you're a legend patron, $15 tier, you get a discount on all of my artwork in my store. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week for another patron portrait. Bye, guys.